Cheers. Most people are probably wondering, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I'm a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. I'm 30 years old, and I have been a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan for my whole life, basically, since, because I was a kid when the 90s and 80s cartoon came on, in a 90s movie. My dad worked at Pizza Hut at the time, so I got the first showings of the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. I got the VHS when you could order it before it came out and stuff like that. I got all this cool stuff when I was a kid, and because everything tied in promotion with the movie with Pizza Hut, and did the same thing with Land Before Time too. I got all those little hand puppets and stuff, but still, I wish I had kept them because now they're worth a lot of money. Who knew? Who knew some rubber puppets of a brontosaurus would be worth some money one day? But anyway, same with all the Ninja Turtles action figures. My son is so into it right now. He's at this point right now. He's not even 2 yet. He's so into it, and it's very noticeable how much he's into it. There's something about this series and children. It just draws them in, and I see it because I'm still into it. I love the new series, the Nickelodeon series. If you're a Ninja Turtles fan, you haven't watched that new Nickelodeon series, you're doing yourself a big disservice because it's better than the 80s cartoon, in my opinion. And that's coming from somebody who grew up with the 80s cartoon, Uncle Phil is Shredder, all the turtles are 4 foot tall or something like that. The little small turtles, but they all look exactly the same. The bandanas kept changing color, and the voices would change, go with the wrong turtle once in a while. You had all that stupid stuff in the old cartoon. The new cartoon takes so many references from movies and past cartoons and stuff like that, throws them all together, makes completely new stories, new characters. Ice Cream Kitty is awesome. If you know what I'm talking about, you're awesome too. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the series. There's an Ice Cream Kitty. Come on. How can you say that that's bad? But it's good and it's legitimately funny. So I recommend that if you haven't seen that. And but on to the main thing here while I drink the glass bottle of cheer wine here. That's extremely good. And if you see these anywhere, pick those up. Real sugar. See that? Real cane sugar. This isn't really a review of this. This is just one of my favorite sodas when you can get it in a glass bottle, the cheer wine. And thankfully they're showing up where I live now, pretty regular in glass bottles. I was scared the glass wasn't going to make it where I was, but it is, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to try not to spoil a lot of stuff, but towards the end of this video I will be spoiling because there's certain things I loved and certain things I hated about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this will have spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie yet and you want to know what happens and don't want to be spoiled about it, don't want any bias going into it, turn it off. But I can tell you right now, before I get into spoilers, I really liked this movie. Really liked it. So stop the video right now, go see it if you haven't seen it. Come back when you have seen it. Okay. This one's interesting. Okay, I'm a big fan of the old 90s movie. It's done really well. The puppets are really good, and it's really cool that they look like they're there. They're interacting really well. Everything's really dark, and I think that's really because the puppets were coming apart and stuff like that. The costumes were, and they didn't want to shine too much light on all the imperfections. And part 2, it's almost too bright, too colorful, too kiddie. Still, the costumes are really good. They really lightened the tone with the second movie, and I did not like that. It had its moments where it was really funny, but then Vanilla Ice. If you like that, if you think it was good for you. I enjoyed it when I was a kid, but the big thing on me is now that I'm an adult, do I still enjoy it? And I enjoy the 90s movie. That's fun. I still enjoy that. I do not enjoy the 80s cartoons anymore. Unfortunately, those did not age well with me. The 2000s cartoons, it was okay. I was kind of older when it came out. I saw where the appeal would kind of be there, but honestly, it wasn't as popular as the 80s. I don't think it was as good, in my opinion. The Turtles started looking really jacked up at that point. People want to blame the new Michael Bay movie for that. It started with the 2000s cartoons. They might have been short, but they were jacked. You know, they were steroid turtles. Whether they were tall or not is a different matter. And nowhere really says what size the turtles have to be. Nothing says that. It's whatever the backstory calls for. It's whatever the backstory with the mutagen calls for. So when people are complaining that the new turtles are too big, too powerful, too muscular, shut up. There's nothing anywhere that says they can't be big and powerful and muscular. They're mutants. They're supposed to be these beasts that don't exist in the real world. So if you want to take liberties with that, take liberties with that. People don't like the designs of the turtles and the face and stuff like that. I'll admit I was not a fan of it, but then again I saw some sketches of what these turtles would look like with all their gear and everything, but their head was changed to mimic the 90s movie. And at first I was like, wow, why couldn't they just do that? You know, because that looks awesome. And then the more I looked at it, the more I thought about it, I was like, that doesn't fit. It doesn't work with the world that they're creating here. Do they need to change a little bit? They're kind of freaky looking. They might need to change something with them. Maybe not too drastic. Maybe they can say, well, they're still mutating, and you know, they change their facial features a little bit. That's one way. You can always write yourself out of that. But honestly, once the movie got going, I didn't even notice. The turtles had personalities that were dead on. The Michelangelo immediately, you know, kicks it into gear with the personalities. Like his first line, everybody's watching all these spoilers. Like I said, everybody's watching all these monitors, seeing the Foot Clan attacking the subway systems and stuff like that. And then, you know, there's monitors all over the place. It's little thing that they have inside the layer, and they're all commenting on what they're seeing. And then there's one monitor over here that's showing a cat. And Michelangelo, he's the one watching that one, like a YouTube video or something like that. He's like, look, it's a cat playing chopsticks with chopsticks. You know, it immediately kicks it off. You're like, okay, this is going to be funny. This is going to be goofy. And he even brings that up later, too. And soda-wise, Mikey drinks Orange Crush. That's cool. He drinks his own flavor of Crush. I see how they tied that in now. That was pretty cool. It'd been funnier if they all drank their own different colors, but Mikey is the one that would be drinking Crush. He's the goofy one. Even though, you know, everybody drinks soda. I don't see why Leonardo couldn't be drinking Berry Blast or whatever that's called, Berry Punch. Lord knows if he can find it in the sewer and I can't find it out here. I mean, I know Mikey didn't have the Ninja Turtle can. They're hard to find, aren't they, Mikey? Can't even get your own can. But it was funny, he mentioned he had a big stockpile of that stuff in the bag. Okay, let's go through some points of this movie. You have way too much April in it. And way too much April. I love the intro of the movie. I love the backstory of the turtles. I like how everything actually makes sense now. Everybody is complaining so much that the backstory is different, that it changed. Why are you complaining? You know what the backstory was? A kid bumped into a truck, okay? A truck bumped into him, and he was holding a glass jar of 4 baby turtles, and it fell and dropped in the sewer at the same time that this mutagen can dropped in the sewer. Happenstance, coincidence. At least now it makes sense. They were developing a drug out of this mutagen, which in the movie said it had alien origins, but it was a throwaway line, and I'm assuming that's going to come back in the next movies. But that's not even brought up anymore. Once little baby April O'Neil says it came from outer space or something like that, it's not ever mentioned again, and nobody ever thinks about it. All you know is that it's mutagen. There's no explanation for where it is. As far as you know, the lab made it, which is what happened in part 2. But anyway, that didn't have anything to do with this. So, in this story, in this version, instead of everything being coincidental, you have a laboratory where the main villain and April O'Neil's dad is working on this drug that can regenerate cells and heal really quickly. And it's coming from this mutagen. And they're testing it on 4 turtles and a rat. And that's where they are. And the project is called Renaissance Project, which in turn gives these 4 turtles their names, which would be, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo. And that makes sense. Why the heck do they have the names? Splinter, in the old story, Splinter found a book and named them after his favorite artists of the Renaissance era. That's fine. This project has a title called Renaissance Project. Name the turtles after that. That's cool. You even distinguish which one was which because they all kind of looked alike in the glass jars. Makes sense. They're turtles. So you put red, purple, blue, and orange on the back of their shells, and they incorporated that, the markings that they had, into their personalities and their mask when they grew up. The lab burnt down. You get an explanation for that later. The lab burnt down. I didn't mention April O'Neil would feed the turtles pizza and interact with the rat and stuff like that. The turtles were babies. They don't remember any of this stuff. The rat remembers this stuff because he was not a baby. The rat was older, so he actually remembered seeing April, and he remembers everything that happened. So he remembers April saving the 4 turtles and the rat and putting them in the little drain for the that goes down into the sewer. And he remembers all this, so he's eternally grateful. After 15 years, he completely remembers that, and he's grateful, and he's looking out for April O'Neil. So when she gets into some mess later on, it's all explained. And they got this great montage with the turtles growing up, Splinter growing up with them. They're all mutating. You see them as babies, toddlers. You see them as like 5 and 6 year olds. You see them as like maybe 10, 11 year olds. You see them in all these different forms. The ninjutsu part of it's kind of, but whatever, it's there. Splinter is not Hamato Yoshi, and he has nothing to do with Hamato Yoshi. Hamato Yoshi is not in this movie. I don't know how I feel about that. The whole point of the Shredder and Splinter is that they have a past, they have a history, and here it's kind of, their history is Splinter knows about this guy, but that doesn't have anything to do with the lab burning up and him being experimented on and stuff like that. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it is what it is. We got what we got, so let's go with it. The turtles themselves are extremely good. Every time the turtles are on screen, it's fun. There's a part where Splinter is punishing the turtles, and he's tempting Michelangelo with a 99 cheese pizza from Pizza Hut, which I know my dad was cracking up because he was sitting right next to me, and he remembers the promotions from the old movie because he was managing stores at the time, and the 99 cheese pizza is just hilarious. And then Splinter goes off and lists all the ingredients, and he didn't get nowhere near 99, but Michelangelo's like, I didn't even know that was possible. It's funny. It's probably that 7 cheese pizza they have anyway, but Splinter likes to embellish a little bit, I think. But that's all very fun. That's a great scene, and Michelangelo's just funny anyway. He's got a couple of lines that are kind of okay. You're trying too hard, but for the most part, anytime you see the turtles on screen, it's good. Too much April. They think that we came to the movies to see April, to see Megan Fox, and she's okay in it, but I didn't come there to see April. I came there to see the turtles, and this is her movie, unfortunately. You get a couple of scenes without April and the turtles, but there's not enough. we need more turtles by themselves. There's a scene in the elevator. They're heading up to the roof to fight the Shredder, and they're in the elevator, and there's nothing going on. There's no music. It's just a still shot of the 4 turtles in the elevator, and they're all just kind of waiting on the doors to open. They're going up to level 54, and they're on the bottom, so it's going to be a while, and the elevator goes ding, ding, ding with each floor that goes by, and then Mikey's, DJ Mikey, or MC Mike, with his nunchucks, and then you have Raphael start bobbing his head, and he joins in, and then Donatello joins in, and there's no music. It's just, and Leonardo's sitting there with a sort of and then they all they have like a good 30-40 second scene where they're just having fun, being teenagers, relieving some tension right before this big battle they're about to join in. When the doors open, it's all serious and they go for it. It's hilarious. It completely works with them. We need more stuff like that in this movie, and we need more stuff like that in the next one. Ending alert here. Spoiler alert for the ending. I hate that April took out Shredder. I hated that. I really did. It's indirectly, but she does it. The turtles fight him for so long, and then you have where they're all hanging, like one turtle's grabbing a bar, and they're hanging from a roof or something like that, and the Shredder's over here doing the same thing, and Leonardo throws a sword and it stabs the Shredder, and then you have somebody hanging you have all 4 turtles hanging off of the one guy that's hanging up there, and then April's at the bottom, and they swing April, and she kicks the sword, knocks Shredder down, and he falls to the ground. April should not be defeating Shredder. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is about the movies and Ninja Turtles. Nobody thinks the Turtles can defeat any enemy. They don't. They just defeat the Foot Clan people. They don't defeat Shredder. They've never defeated Shredder. They've never defeated the Bad Guy in 3. I don't understand that. You have Splinter taking out Shredder in part 1. You have Shredder killing himself in part 2. And you have the Casey Jones ancestor guy taking out the bad guy in part 3. And then this one, April takes out Shredder. Can the Turtles not handle their own business? Come on, guys. Turtles, they can do this. There are 4 ninjas, for crying out loud. They seem competent enough when they all work together. They can do this. Let's have them do it, But anyway, that's the only major pet peeve I have with this movie. Everything else is great. The action scenes are great. The snow mountain scene, that's fun all the way around. It looks great. It's fun action. You can really get into it. My favorite part of the scene my favorite part of the movie is probably either the elevator scene, or there's a scene where they're 3 of the turtles are trapped, and they're getting their blood drained because of the mutagen in their blood, and you have a computer right next to them controlling what goes in their system, and April is there, and she goes up to Donatello, and everybody's all woozy, they're all losing consciousness, and she goes to Donatello and asks, what do I do? And he says, adrenaline. Okay. So she goes over to that computer, and there's a little button on there for adrenaline. I'll go with it, whatever. And she taps the adrenaline, just tap, 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 and it's like overdose load. It keeps going up and up and up, and all of a sudden the turtles, they go crazy, and they bust out of those things, and now all of a sudden they're like, they've like drank 100 cups of coffee, and they're talking so fast, and they're going so crazy. There's no music. It's just them just talking all over on top of each other. Mike is like, let's go clean the dojo. It's so funny. That scene had me crying. I was laughing so hard. And I'm surprised nobody's really mentioned that scene. It's hilarious. God, that scene was so funny. I'd like to go back and see some of the stuff, because I have a feeling that the audio in my theater was a little off. Everything felt like it echoed, and I have a feeling that I missed some pretty good jokes and good lines in there, because there was so much talk in this movie. Little things between the 4 turtles. They kind of talked over each other a little bit, and I have a feeling I missed a lot. and I might need to go back and check it out. Make a whole day out of it. I'll go check out Guardians of the Galaxy and Ninja Turtles in the same day or something. Who knows? But two great movies. Well, one great movie, one pretty good movie, back to back. Like I said before, it may sound like I'm downing the movie, but I'm not. I liked it. I did like the movie. It was good. And on my list, how people can put Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 ahead of this one, I have no clue. Because this one was good. I mean, it was very doable here, you know. I mean, it's a very good movie. And I don't put it ahead of one. I like the 1990 Turtles a lot better than this one. But that could be some nostalgia with me. But personally, that's the only one of the old movies that I don't feel embarrassed that I'm watching again. You know what I mean? If I watch 3 or 2 in some parts, I feel like maybe I shouldn't be watching this. I'm too old for this. Why am I watching this? You know? I watched the old 90s movie. I don't feel that way. It's a good movie. I don't feel that way with this one. You know? I never felt embarrassed to be there with this movie. Because it felt like it was grown up. You know? I mean, it didn't feel... It was kiddie in a sense that it was very family friendly. I think I heard one cuss word in the whole movie. You know? There's a little gag at the end of it that's, you know, where they jump up into a brawl on a billboard, which is kind of funny. I'm glad, if it had to be anywhere, I'm glad it was where it was. I did not want to see that in the movie. I saw that in the trailer. I was like, there's the Michael Bay humor right there, you know. Whatever. You're going to get that. But it wasn't in the movie. It was at the end of it. It was post-credit. Or mid-credit, you know. So it had no bearing on what happened in the movie. So that's fine. If you want to throw something like that out there at the end of it, sure. Don't mess up the movie by putting crap like that in there. Keep it the way you got it. You know, you got a good mix here. You got funny, family-friendly Turtles and a semi-family friendly PG-13 world. You know, it's got violence, but at the same time, if you watch these movies and you see these things like Dark Knight Rises or the Avengers, Captain America, you see the Man of Steel movie, you see things like Godzilla, Pacific Rim. The movies are good, but so many people die in these movies, and they're rated PG-13 just because you can't see the deaths. Captain America's flat out shooting people at point blank range in that movie. Not Captain America is, but the bad guys are. I don't see how that wasn't rated R, but that's me, my own personal feeling. I felt uncomfortable watching that when it was so violent, but especially because there was kids in the front row. But that movie's not for kids. But this one is. You look at collateral damage in this, very little. You're not going to see buildings collapsing with the implications that thousands of people just died over and over and over. Transformers killed thousands and thousands of people. I mean, at some point, you're like, okay, this is nice to look at, but, you know, we're killing thousands of people in this movie and nobody is caring. At the end of the day, everybody's happy. That's stupid. That's illogical. Makes no sense. And it should have been worked differently. But in this movie, you don't get that. They're fighting who they're fighting. There's no, you know, buildings collapsing, no cars being crushed into, you know, flattened like pancakes while people are still in them. You got none of that. You're not going to get that over violence. It is a good family movie, and I recommend it if you gotta like your Ninja Turtles and you can't be too nostalgic. If you're holding on to the past and you honestly go into this movie believing that Michael Bay is killing your childhood and you're gonna hate this, you're wanting to hate it, you're thinking you're gonna hate it, you're expecting to hate it, you're not gonna like it, and you need to just shut up and sit down and go somewhere else. You don't need to watch this movie. If you come in with an open mind, it's a good movie. It's fun all the way through, so I recommend it, and go check it out, and drink some of that. That's pretty good too. And until next time, thank you for watching. Happy hunting.